We're grateful for each and every one of you. Let us know where in the world you're tuning in from. We'd love to hear from you in the comments. Let's begin. People say marriages don't collapse overnight, but mine felt like it did. Right there in the middle of a crowded diner, with fluorescent lights buzzing above us and the smell of burnt coffee hanging in the air. Maddie sat across from me, scrolling on her phone like I wasn't even there. I just asked her about our weekend plans, something simple, something normal, and she didn't even lift her eyes. Instead, she tightened her grip on her phone like it contained a world that didn't include me. "Can you put that down for 1 minute?" I asked gently. Her jaw twitched. "Ryan, it's work. Don't make a big deal out of nothing." But it wasn't nothing. It was the way her shoulders stiffened whenever I spoke. It was how her lock screen flashed with a new password I didn't recognize. It was how she tucked the phone closer to her chest like I was a threat instead of her husband of 12 years. The waitress approached with refills, but Maddie didn't notice. She was too busy typing quickly, lips curled in a soft smile, the kind she used to give me. And that's when the waitress quietly said to me, "Rough night, huh?" She didn't mean any harm, but in that second, it felt like my entire life had become visible to strangers. When Maddie finally looked up, she barely met my eyes. "We're done here," she muttered. "I'll just grab an Uber." 12 years together, reduced to a hasty exit from a cheap diner booth. I watched her walk out into the night with her phone, lighting up her face like she was already somewhere else entirely. The signs had been creeping in long before that night, little shifts at first. Maddie used to come home eager to talk about her day, pacing around the kitchen while I listened, cooking dinner for the both of us. Our routines were simple but warm, predictable, but in a comforting way. She used to fall asleep on my shoulder while we watched old sitcom reruns, whispering, "I love our boring life." But somewhere in the last year, the warmth drained out. She started staying later at work. Her clothes changed, sharper, more fitted, more deliberate. Dinner became silent or eaten alone. She laughed less with me and more at her phone. At first, I blamed myself. I picked up extra chores, cooked her favorite meals, tried planning date nights. But every attempt was brushed off with a polite, distant excuse. "I'm tired. I have a deadline. Can we not do this right now?" It wasn't irritation. It was indifference. And that hurt worse. I became a ghost in my own home. Her body was there. Her voice was there. But her heart wasn't. The night everything started to unravel, she came home late, again. Her hair was tousled, her blouse slightly wrinkled, and she reeked of a cologne that definitely wasn't mine. "Long meeting?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. She didn't flinch. "Yeah, you know how clients can be." But her tone, it was flat, robotic, practiced, like she'd rehearsed the line during the drive home. I want to believe her. God, I tried. We'd built a life together. Mortgage, shared routines, Sunday morning pancakes, dreams about a house with a bigger yard someday. You don't throw that away because of one wrinkled blouse and some unfamiliar cologne. But the truth? Trust isn't destroyed by one moment. It's destroyed by 1,000 tiny ones that you ignore until they pile up too high to look over. She went straight to the shower that night, without even kissing me hello. And I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the floor, replaying every small shift I had brushed off. Something was happening. Something she wasn't telling me. A week later, the gap between us became a canyon. Maddie was dressing up more than ever. New perfume, new dresses, her hair styled even on days she claimed she'd be buried in spreadsheets. One morning, I offered her a cup of coffee like I'd done every day for over a decade. She looked at it, blinked once, and said, "I already grabbed one on the way." She had never grabbed coffee on the way. And then she gave me the final sign, the one I couldn't ignore. She changed every password. Her phone, her laptop, even the shared tablet we both used. When I asked, she rolled her eyes. "It's called cybersecurity, Ryan. Welcome to the modern world." No softness, no understanding, just cold irritation. It felt like she was building a fortress between us brick by brick, and I wasn't even allowed to knock on the gates. That was the moment something inside me shifted too. A quiet resolve, a suspicion I didn't want, but could no longer silence. I didn't install a camera because I wanted to catch her. I installed it because I needed the truth, even if the truth broke me. And I had no idea just how far the truth would go, or who it would destroy. I didn't install the camera out of anger. I installed it out of fear. Fear that the woman I had built a life with was slipping into a world that didn't include me anymore. I hid it inside a decorative plant on the shelf in our living room, angled carefully toward the entryway. I told myself it was only temporary. A week, maybe two, just until I understood why her eyes no longer softened when they landed on me. But the truth came faster than I expected. 3 days after the password changes, Maddie texted at 5:32 p.m. Working late. Don't wait up. 5 words. No heart emoji. No smile. No love you. Just instructions, cold and detached. I replied, everything okay? She didn't answer. So I heated leftovers, ate alone, washed the dishes in silence, and tried distracting myself with old shows we used to watch together. But my eyes kept drifting to my phone, waiting for any sign of her. Around 9:14 p.m., the notification buzzed. Living room cam, motion detected. My pulse kicked up. I opened the app with shaking fingers. The feed loaded, and there she was. Not coming home tired from work. Not dragging her laptop bag. Not worn out or stressed. No. She entered the house like she was floating. Soft smile, hair brushed back, her clothes too neat to have been working late. Then another figure stepped inside. My breath left my lungs. Jason. Jason Reed. The man I once considered family. He shut the door behind them like he'd done 100 times. Maddie turned toward him, that same soft smile widening. The smile I hadn't seen directed at me in months. They weren't kissing. They weren't tangled in anything inappropriate. But the intimacy was unmistakable. She stood close, too close, tucking a piece of hair behind her ear the same way she used to when she wanted me to notice her. Jason placed a hand on her shoulder like it belonged there. The audio picked up faint murmurs. Are you sure? He whispered. No one will know, she answered. Those 4 words felt like a knife. My throat tightened. I lowered the phone as tears stung my eyes, sitting completely still because if I moved, I might shatter. 12 years together. 12 years of small rituals and gentle habits. And she was sharing pieces of herself with someone I once would have trusted with my life. I forced myself to breathe. I forced myself to think. And then I forced myself to save the footage, every second of it. I didn't confront her that night. I didn't yell. I didn't demand answers. She walked in at 11:42 p.m., keys jingling, coat perfectly smoothed. Her makeup untouched. Her hair flawless. Everything okay at work? I asked, voice steady in a way I didn't recognize. She paused, just for a second, barely noticeable, but enough for me to catch it. Then she nodded. Just a long day. I studied her face. The softness she once had toward me had vanished entirely. She kissed my cheek, a hollow gesture, then disappeared upstairs. I stayed in the kitchen long after she fell asleep, staring at the footage again and again, each replay hammering the truth deeper into my chest. But what broke me wasn't just her betrayal. It was his. Jason wasn't just a friend. He had been like a brother. He helped me move into our first apartment. He spent Thanksgiving with us 3 years in a row. He was the first person I called when my dad passed away. And now he was the man Maddie trusted enough to bring into my home. Every memory I had of him felt poisoned. But there was someone else in the picture too. Olivia, Jason's wife, 8 months pregnant with their first child. She and Maddie used to shop for baby clothes together. They spent entire afternoons picking out nurseries, laughing about midnight feedings and diaper shortages. Maddie even threw her a small baby shower at our house last month. How could she do that to her? How could he? The thought of Olivia sitting at home, rubbing her belly, trusting Jason to be faithful and dependable, it made something inside me twist with rage. She deserved to know. She deserved the truth. But I couldn't just send the footage and walk away. I needed to be sure. I needed undeniable proof. So the next day, I adjusted the angle of the camera, set it to notify me at the slightest movement, and waited. Maddie grew bolder, her lies smoother, her excuses sharper. Every night, she came home a little later. Every morning, she left a little earlier. Her perfume changed. Her smiles were rarer. Her phone never left her hand. But the footage? The footage grew more revealing. She and Jason never crossed any explicit line on camera, not in a way that violated boundaries of this platform. But the emotional intimacy was glaring. Their conversations were too personal. Their body language too familiar. Their laughter too synchronized, like they shared a secret rhythm. At one point, Maddie stepped into the living room, holding 2 glasses of wine. She handed him one, brushing his fingers longer than necessary. He said softly, "We shouldn't keep doing this." She replied, "Then why do you keep coming back?" That was enough. Enough to break a heart. Enough to destroy a marriage. Enough to snap the last thread of trust holding my sanity together. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I just stared at the screen and whispered, "Okay, if this is how you want it, then you'll get it." Revenge didn't come from anger. It came from clarity. And Olivia, his pregnant wife, deserved to see exactly what clarity looked like. But when I finally reached out to her, her response wasn't anything I expected. It changed everything. For all of us. I didn't sleep the night I decided to tell Olivia. I just lay there next to Maddie, my wife, listening to her steady breathing while my own chest felt like it was filled with broken glass. Every time she shifted, I wondered if she was dreaming about him. By morning, I knew I couldn't carry it alone anymore. I waited until I got to work, sat in my car in the parking lot, hands shaking so badly I had to rest my phone on my knee just to type. I sent Olivia a single message. "Hey, it's Ryan. I need to talk to you about something important. Can we meet?" She replied faster than I expected. "Is everything okay? Is Jason all right?" The irony made my stomach twist. She was worried about the man who had been sneaking around behind her back, worried about him while carrying his child. I wrote, "It's about Jason and Maddie." There was a long pause, nearly 2 minutes. Then, "Where?" We met at a small park near her house. Quiet, open, neutral ground. She arrived carefully, one hand supporting her belly, the other gripping her car door for balance. She looked exhausted, like pregnancy had taken every ounce of her energy, but her eyes still carried that hopeful softness I remembered. "Ryan," she said, concern etched all over her face. "What's going on? You're scaring me." I wished I didn't have to be the one to shatter her world. I wish this wasn't real. But I opened my phone, selected the saved clips, and held it out to her without saying a single word. Some truths don't need explanations. She watched silently. Her expression didn't crumble. Not first. She just grew still, like her entire body was bracing for impact. When Jason appeared on the screen standing too close to Maddie, when Maddie's smile lingered too long, when their hands brushed, Olivia's breath hitched. She pressed a hand to her mouth. Her eyes glistened. But still, she held it together. When the clip ended, she gave the phone back with trembling fingers. "I knew something was wrong," she whispered, her voice cracking like thin ice. I never thought it was someone this close. Not Maddie. She threw me a baby shower. Ryan. She promised she'd always have my back." Her voice snapped on the last word. I sat beside her on the bench, not touching her, but staying close. She wiped her cheeks, one shaky breath after another. Then something changed in her eyes. The softness vanished, replaced by a steel I didn't know she had. "Thank you for showing me," she said quietly. "But we need to do this right." I blinked. "Do what?" She turned toward me fully. "Expose them. Completely. Not out of revenge, out of fairness. Because they made choices behind our backs, and they don't get to walk away clean." I hadn't expected that. I thought she would cry, fall apart, go home and sob in her pillow. But Olivia was stronger than that. Stronger than both Maddie and Jason combined. She took a deep breath and said, "I'm going to help you. We're going to handle this smart." And that's when she revealed something that sent shockwaves through me. "Ryan, I think you're not the only one they lied to." My brows furrowed. "What do you mean?" She hesitated, then whispered, "I'm not sure Jason wants this baby. He's been distant, avoiding doctor appointments, making excuses. Now I know why." Her voice broke. He wasn't pulling away because he was overwhelmed. He was doing it because his heart was somewhere else. The pain behind her words made my stomach twist. She continued, "And Maddie? She's been acting strange with me too, asking questions about our finances, about inheritance plans, about whether our families would help us out." It felt off. But now I understand everything. I clenched my fists. So they weren't just sneaking around. They were planning something. She nodded slowly. "I think so." The betrayal suddenly had deeper roots, terrifying ones. I inhaled sharply. "What do we do?" Olivia straightened her posture, rubbing her belly gently, as if reminding herself what she was protecting. "I'll record a message," she said. "Something honest, direct, and impossible for them to deny. Then, you send the footage to both of them at the same time. They won't be able to twist the story or manipulate it. I stared at her. This pregnant woman, tired, heartbroken, betrayed, was more composed than I felt in weeks. I handed her the phone again. She hit record, voice steady even though her eyes shimmered. Jason, I saw everything. I know what you've been hiding. I know who you've been with. I won't raise our baby in lies. She ended the recording and exhaled deeply. Your turn. You ready? My heart pounded, but I nodded. This wasn't just about catching them. It was about reclaiming the dignity they tried to steal from us. Together, we planned it down to the second. I would send the living room footage to Maddie. Olivia would send her message and the same footage to Jason. We would wait for their reactions. And then, we would decide how to end this story for good. But fate had already decided the next step for us. Because when we sent the videos, when Maddie and Jason realized they'd been exposed, someone unexpected showed up at my door. Someone neither of us had prepared for. And what happened next left all four of us speechless. I didn't expect the doorbell to ring so soon. I had barely hit send on the footage to Maddie when someone started pounding. Not knocking, pounding on my front door. For a split second, I thought it was her. I imagined Maddie storming in with excuses ready, voice sharp, eyes cold with practiced indignation. But when I opened the door, it wasn't Maddie. It was Jason, and he looked nothing like the smooth, confident man who'd been smirking in my living room. His face was pale, his hair messy, his eyes wide with panic. Ryan, man, listen, please, he stammered, stepping forward like he expected me to let him in. I blocked the doorway with my arm. You need to step back. He froze, chest heaving. I didn't mean for this to happen. You gotta believe me. I let out a humorless laugh. You mean the part where you sneaked into my house? Or the part where you told my wife things you should have been telling your pregnant wife? He swallowed hard. Olivia saw it. Yes, I said, and she handled it better than either of you ever did. His shoulders collapsed. He ran a hand through his hair, pacing on the porch. Ryan, I'm screwed, he whispered. Good, I replied, unable to muster even an ounce of sympathy. Before he could say another word, a car pulled up to the curb. A familiar blue sedan. Maddie stepped out. She didn't look furious. She didn't look ashamed. She looked scared. She rushed toward the house, ignoring Jason entirely. Ryan, please let me explain, she gasped. Jason scoffed under his breath. Oh, now you want to talk? She spun on him, eyes blazing. Don't start, Jason. This is your fault too. That made him snap. Don't you dare put this on me. You told me your marriage was basically over. Maddie's face went red. Because it felt like it. You never. Enough, I said sharply. They both fell silent. I'm not your referee, I told them. You made your choices. Both of you. Maddie stepped closer, tears filling her eyes. Ryan, I never wanted to hurt you. I was confused. I felt ignored. I felt like we were drifting. Then you talk, I said. You try. You fight for it. You don't go behind my back with someone who sat at our dinner table. Jason shifted uncomfortably. Maddie looked at me like she was searching for the version of me who used to bend over backward for her. But that man wasn't answering the door today. She wiped her face. I can fix us. I'll go to therapy. I'll do whatever you want. Just don't throw 12 years away because of a mistake. A mistake, I repeated. A mistake doesn't happen repeatedly. A mistake doesn't walk into my living room like he owns it. A mistake doesn't plan a future where you're weighing your options between us. Her breath caught. Ryan. Suddenly, another car pulled up. A quiet one. Gray. Slow. Olivia stepped out. Her presence silenced everyone instantly. She looked fragile yet unbreakable. A woman holding strength in one hand and heartbreak in the other. Jason called out softly, Liv, please listen. No, she said, voice steady. You had your chance to talk. Now it's my turn. Maddie turned away like she couldn't face her. Olivia walked up the driveway until she stood between all of us. Then she looked at me first. Thank you, she said gently, for letting me see the truth before I wasted more time loving someone who wasn't honest. Jason sank to the curb, head in his hands. Then Olivia turned to Maddie. I trusted you, she whispered. I let you into my home. I shared things with you I haven't even told my sister. And you were smiling with me while sneaking around with my husband. The tears Maddie had been holding back finally broke. I'm sorry, she sobbed. I didn't mean for it to go this far. But you let it, Olivia said. You both let it. And now you get to live with what you've done. She exhaled deeply, then looked at me one last time. Ryan, whatever you choose next, make sure it brings you peace. She walked back to her car without another word. Jason ran after her, begging, literally begging. But she got in, locked the doors, and drove off. Maddie reached for my hand. I stepped back. It was the simplest motion in the world, but it was the one that sealed everything. No more, I said quietly. Her face crumbled as the full weight of it hit her. By the next morning, she had moved out. Jason was crashing at his brother's place. Olivia filed for separation and focused on her baby. And me? For the first time in a long time, I breathed. Not easily, not painlessly, but freely. Because sometimes the strongest revenge isn't destroying someone. It's removing yourself from the place they thought you'd never leave, and watching them realize what they lost all on their own.